I have a particular item that I need to get into my inventory, and that's a set of winter gloves, which I currently do not have. Going gloveless, it sucks, especially walking the trash out. I feel like my fingers are they're not gonna fall off, but they're getting cold. They're getting cold. You gotta keep your outer extremities insulated. But apart from that, I can handle a little chilliness. This is it at least feels more festive when there's snow on the ground. When it's just cold and gray, that kind of sucks. But if it's cold and snowy, it's a little more jolly, you know. But either way, plan for tonight's lift back. I'm excited for it. Not because I'm gonna somehow have the most intense set in the world that I've ever done, or I'm gonna be the most physically pumped I've ever been, but just because I'm taking one more step towards the goals I'm trying to achieve. Plus, every lift, I'm a little bit leaner than I was the last time. So I'm kind of excited to see how my back's gonna look today. But I'm doing a full day of eating as well, so I'll do a little double upload for the day that this video gets out. I'm gonna try to make it a little more concise too. Sometimes I let the full day of eatings go on for like 2 hours. It's too long, at least, for everybody. So I'll try to limit that to like 25 minutes or something ish. But yeah, so plan for back after having eaten about 100 grams of protein, 30 something ish of carbs, and only like 10 or 15 of fats. Well, do some pullovers, do some rows, do some pull downs, and then before I know it, my back's going to be fully pumped. So I get this comment reasonably frequently, enough that it actually warrants attention. How should my training change if I'm trying to bulk up versus when I'm trying to cut down? And I think the reason that even becomes a question is there's a lot of like the meta of working out, or like descriptive terms of what working out even is very like convoluted and strange to anybody who's not really into it. Because everybody's going to say like, oh, you do crunches and it burns the body fat on your abs, or you do these movements so that you look toned. Oh, I don't want that blocky look. I want to look more like, this, that, or the other. Like it's just kind of a weird way to think about it. But if you boil it down, how I feel about the matter, and not how I feel, but what I think the situation is based on everything I know, is the whole point of the workout, be it bulking up or cutting down, is purely to stimulate whatever muscle you're hitting. Usually a good rule of thumb is hit every muscle group twice per week. Right now I've been on a kick of doing everything twice every 8 days, because I do legs, chest, back, arms, and then legs again. So every 4 days I hit everything. So twice every 8 days, just about twice a week. But so stimulate whatever muscle you're hitting twice a week as hard as you can given your current state. So if I'm only eating a freaking 100 grams of carbs every day and I'm not completely full of everything else and my recovery is a little bit inhibited, then I might end up toning back on the volume, but not even like actively. I'm simply gonna be like fatigued and like feel subjectively done with the workout earlier, because I don't have the same endurance that I do when I'm eating like 10 times as many carbs and like 3 times as many fats as I am, when I've got more energy in my system. So it's like I'm doing as many sets as necessary to reach a state of fully pumped and fully stimulated / fatigued. So what changes? I'm not going to go as heavy, of course, but that's just common sense. Lift within weights that are within reason for your current state. So if I'm fully bulked, extra big, extra strong, I might be more inclined to throw the stack around on more movements, because that's going to feel like a reasonable working weight. And then in terms of muscular growth, I'm definitely trying to leverage progressive overload, get bigger and stronger throughout a bulking phase. But, dieting down, I want to use weights that might be a little more within reason, that I can feel, obviously not hurt myself doing, and then, still finish with a good pump and keep my effort level pretty high. I'm not going to sit here and do 30 sets of like junk volume. the approach is basically the same, but there are little details. So if you're dieting down, maybe don't lift the most weight you've ever done on incline bench. Maybe don't try to do like a million sets of extra kind of volume. But the same thing could be said about bulking up, you know? What I'm really concerned with is making sure my effort's there, my pump is solid, and then really just staying hyped and freaking, motivated. Or not even motivated, just excited about the lift. But that's true on any given day during any bulking, maintaining, or dieting phase, you know? So when I talk about like really making sure I get extra pumps, that's not only my actions in the gym, I'm talking out of the gym at home. You know, if I didn't drink as much water as I did today, if I didn't have as many electrolytes as I did, or get as much rest as I did, then my pump in the gym is going to suffer. So it's not like physically getting pumped is the cause of stimulus and is causing your muscle to grow. But if you had a really wild pump, odds are everything was in order for you to have a good lift that's going to result in more progress, you know? So if you were as well hydrated as you've ever been, as well rested as you've ever been, and you have a pretty solid workout, and you're like, holy crap, everything's clicking, yeah, that shouldn't be a surprise, you know? So that's where the guys who put a bit more effort into their out of gym activities and sort of schedule and make sure that things kind of align, then, I mean, who's going to have a better lift? The guy who drank 4 liters of water so far today, got 8 hours of sleep, and, is ready and feels good? Or the guy who got 4 hours of sleep, drank maybe a liter of water, maybe, and is overall just like slightly dehydrated, totally didn't have any extra electrolytes, and then is, feeling a little groggy for the lift, right? Sure, you take your pre-workout, whatever, you get a bit more kind of like temporary energy, but I think we know the answer to who's going to get better results in the long run. So don't just think that the gym is where all the effort is made, right? Outside of the gym, you got to have that support structure so that when you actually roll up, you don't feel like shit, and you actually, are excited to do what you're there for. Working out sucks if it feels like work. If you didn't get enough sleep, if you're not well hydrated, you're just overall like in a state of fatigue and stress, then yeah, I mean, what are the odds that you're going to keep working out every day, to infinity? Pretty low. But if you get everything else in order and you just feel better in general, then, pushing yourself hard in the gym will feel good. So it's not necessarily a question of like, okay, how amped up and hyped and locked in can I get? It's like, dude, go to bed earlier. That's gonna boost your freaking lift progress more than any TikTok edit ever could. So that's enough talk for me there. But pull downs, pullovers, and rows, and then within an hour or so from right now, ish, give or take, depending on traffic, I'm sure I'm going to be looking at a rather freaky back pump in the mirror. So how about we just get that started? I have a plan. I actually have formulated a little bit of a plan for this lift, because there's a seated row right here, but it's one of the ones. Oh, actually, what am I even doing? Let's just point at it. It's one of the ones that's like that handle is very far away from where I would usually be when I'm actually doing the reps. But I put that yoga pad onto it so I can kind of like push against my shins instead of my feet. Because for me to load up a reasonable amount of weight and then basically hunch way over here, pull it all the way back, and then start doing the reps, it just kind of sucks. So usually I don't use this row, but this yoga pad is my freaking savior. But I don't want to go too heavy, right? So I'm going to save this as more of a lighter squeezing movement for later and start with some lat pre-exhaustion. So I think I might sort of work my way up from lower lats, starting here at the pullovers, up to mid back, and then kind of bounce around as such. But let's just get set number 1 moving. And these are going to be alternating 10, 10, 10 to 10 until I'm totally burnt out. Ugh. 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 Okay. Oh, 10 reps might have been a little ambitious. That was good though. Let's run that back at least one more time. Okay. Oh my goodness. Whew. Yeah, these are good. Definitely prefer the single arm pullover to double arm at once. I feel like I can really just like dig deeper doing one at a time. But I think that's enough here. Let's move on. Let's do one set of shrugs before I move on to anything upper back focused. Oh my god. Okay. Whew. So this is very manageable weight. Only 200 something pounds. All right. Oh my god. Okay. Too heavy. Good set. Let me drop the weight. Whew. I only need 150. Yeah. What am I doing? Throwing around 210. Okay. Okay. Let's do some pull downs. Standard straight bar. So we got 210 big ones on the stack. This will be a reasonably hefty set, but not beyond reason. This is probably the upper echelon of the amount of weight I'd want to use. But I totally got 10 good ones and at least a couple of nasty partials Nasty in a good way. If I can pair it with a good song. Yeah. Okay. One more. Okay. Holy crap. Come on. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I think I'm ready for the last superset. My back will be done. So I'll pre-exhaust with some neutral grip pull-ups, just like 8 or something, as many as I can do just to burn out. And then pop a squat here with these 2D handles and do some very squeeze focused rows. And this combination of some lat work and some upper back work, especially like tandem back to back, or I guess, well, yeah, back to back. It always does me good to finish off these back days. All right, come on. Come on, guys. Okay, that's good. Oh, come on. Oh my God. Okay. Back complete. Now time for some judgment underneath some harsh top-down lighting. All right. So that was, how many sets was that? Pull over, shrug, row, pull down, and then superset at the end. 8 sets. That's kind of about right. I've been bouncing around the 8 to the sort of 7, 8-ish. I feel like it's been a while since I've been on a 9 set lift.
But just sitting here, forearm vascularity is already kind of jumping out of me with the short sleeve. So maybe we're in for a little bit of a treat. Whoa. So let's run through some of these guys. Oh, oh shit. Barely even flexing, like only use enough back to hold my torso up from leaning forward. That is getting to be some pretty serious lat trap. Let's just do it. Let's just do the pose instead of talking about it. Oh my goodness. That's a good one. We are definitely getting somewhere there. And geez. I think this might actually be the leanest my back has ever been. Maybe leanest and biggest. Because front side wise, I feel like I've had a leaner torso before in midsection, but this is like, I'll go on record. I think this is the freakiest my back has ever looked. Let me get a little extra zoom here. Do one more of those little Christmas tree flexes. Well, it would seem that the cardio is paying off. Now, it's a slow process, but definitely appears to be working. Let's get a little Arnold action in here too. Oh, oh, one more. Oh my goodness. So I think that's all I got for freaking back. Pumped to SHIT. I'm feeling carb depleted. And for you, I'm getting freaking jealous of you guys because after these lifts, you just get to jump straight to the car. I've still got 60 minutes of pedaling and treadmill activities to get done. But that's just the situation at hand. So I got to really lock it in for these last month and a half or so because the dieting is a progressively more intense endeavor. But it also gives you like, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like what's the opposite of diminishing returns? Because every pound of fat that you lose in a row, each pound turns into more of a percentage change of your leanness. So if you take a guy who's 100 pounds of fat overweight, have him lose 1 pound, he's only made a 1% change in his visual leanness. But if you take a guy who's got 10 pounds of spare body fat, take off 1 pound, now he's 10% leaner. The problem is those last few pounds get trickier and trickier to lose. So definitely not a passive activity. But I'll see you in the car. I'd say wish me luck, but it's not really a luck type situation. Just, well, I'll try to enjoy it as much as I can.
I tell you what, hindsight is 2020. I should have brought a spare shirt, because now this jacket is going to have to be laundered, because that blue t-shirt I've got underneath, it is drenched. It is freaking drenched, which is kind of weird, because like some days I'll be extra sweaty from the cardio, and then other days not so much. I'm not exactly sure what changes. I feel like I come into each cardio session pretty well hydrated, so I don't know. Maybe the fact that I did back tonight really got my core temperature going crazy. Oh, you gonna hit me? No. So, who's to say? But either way, this morning I might have bundled up a little bit too much. I did, was I doing double sweatpants or just single? Oh, I don't remember. Well, whether it was double or single, I did a sweater and a sweatshirt on the seated bike, and 40 minutes seated bike, 20 minutes on the treadmill, and I could tell that was really starting to heat me up to the point where I kind of thought, I thought it might have been a little bit too much, but it feels good to get nice and sweaty like that. So maybe tomorrow morning I'll do shorts and like a light nylon shirt, be a little bit more, air cooled. But either way, I've been working my way through all the old gangster movies, Scarface and the Goodfellas, and what else? The Godfather. I started The Godfather 2, but I watched that like immediately after The Godfather. I might have been a little bit Godfathered out, but I need some new shows to watch. Part of me is thinking that I should watch Lost. My sister and my dad watched that back when she was in high school, when they were younger, and I would kind of tune in like every so often and see how it was going. Yeah, some of the I keep seeing some clips. Honestly, the shows that I pick, I'm really subject to the freaking hive mind, because if I saw a bunch of TikTok edits talking about Dexter, and then it made me watch Dexter, and then I saw a bunch of Suits edits and made me watch Suits. Yeah, really a freaking gear in the machine there. But I am trying to make use of the amount of cardio I'm doing by consuming some more long form media instead of just sitting and scrolling. Which I will reiterate. Open your settings, open your screen time. I'm not here to judge how many hours you've spent on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube collectively. But I will be a bit of an advocate that you could totally spend 30 minutes out of that time period doing the exact same thing, watching the same videos, just doing the same stuff, whilst getting a little bit of extra cardio in. And it's definitely not, it's not the easiest thing in the world, but it's not that hard either. It's really just a you gotta do it type situation. But that was a good back day. Everything is really clicking. That seated row, and I think I know why. It's like a weird height. I don't really like seated rows at that angle. I kind of like the more classic, like Planet Fitness-y looking lower foot pad with the round dimples on it or whatever. That feels a little better. But those pull downs felt really good. The pullovers I was really feeling. Part of me thinks I might need to make a little bit of a trip back to American Barbell for my next back day and do some pullover machines, because a good pullover machine, yeah, it's definitely a step above the single arm cable pullovers. The single arm cable pullovers are good, like I like them, but a good pullover machine, yeah, it's kind of hard to compare. I had a good one at my school's gym. I'd always be doing some kind of get some assisted reps going over there. But yeah, the pullovers and the overhead tricep extension, those are rare. Those are hard to come by, and of course they're the machines that like feel the best for their respective muscle groups. But it's not always about the machines, you know? It's like, whatever. I mean, I think I went maybe like 8 months or so, peak COVID, just in the basement gym doing lifts, where all I had was the dumbbells to 50. And I say all I had, like I was really stocked. I'm extra spoiled because my dad had some weight sets already. All I had to do was get like a $200 Amazon rack and kind of clean up the space. But dumbbells up to 50s, plus like a 65-pound set of the ones that screw together. 300 pounds of weight in a barbell, and then I jerry-rigged a cable pull down so I could do tricep extensions. And then, yeah. That was some very interesting pretty interesting leg training back then. I didn't really know what I was doing with the squats yet. That was like year 2-ish or year 3. Or no, I think year 2 into the working out. So I would I would take these like elastic belts, like these nylon kind of braided, like just belts for your pants. And what I would do is I'd set the bench on an incline at like maybe 15 degrees, like the lowest incline I could do. And I would tie, I think I could do about a 30-pound dumbbell. I would tie a 30-pound dumbbell to my foot, and I would do just sets of leg extensions like that. Not a lot of stretch, but a really good squeeze on top. I see a lot of that in like all the home gym videos. Sometimes they talk about the like ankle attachment, where it's this big plasticky sort of thing where you can attach a dumbbell to your foot like that. And honestly, it worked out pretty well. And then for hamstrings, what I would do is I tied an elastic band to the like to my bed, because the bed was just like a wooden frame with these metal posts to hold it up, and I would just do leg curls, single leg with an elastic band, and it worked well enough. I mean, given I didn't really have any other option, it worked freaking perfect. I had some pretty freaky leg pumps back then. But all that's to say is, you know, just make use of what you got, and if you want it, like if you want to have a good workout, you can make it happen. I mean, I've gone on record saying this a couple times. There is not many spaces that you could put me in where I couldn't, within at least like a minute or two, come up with a way to get a pump in some way or another. Be it chest, legs, hamstring, biceps, arms, whatever. I mean, you give me a gallon jug of milk, maybe a gallon jug of water. I don't want to froth up and like leave milk out of the fridge for that long. But let's say you give me a gallon of water, I could have an arm day. I could have a badass arm day with just 1 gallon of water for sure. Shoulders, easy, just lateral raises. Chest would be a little trickier. You'd have to do some kind of funky, like drag curl type situation. Type situations, but yeah, you know, that's I think that's a good quality for a lifter to have. But hopefully enough, we're not going to have anything like that anytime soon. I do get a little nervous hearing all these rumors about the like Chinese whatever sort of virus getting whatever. But I don't know. We'll be all right. Old 12 activity going on over there. Let's just mind their business and keep rolling. So, plan for tonight. I've got a pretty substantial amount of food I still get to eat, which is very nice. I was very good about my diet today in terms of saving calories for later. So now I get to have a pretty substantial post-workout meal and a pretty decently sized meal for right before bed. But there's like a balance that you have to have, because if you wait too long to eat your first meal, like if you try to just fast until 4 o'clock, then odds are you're going to push your hunger into this realm of like insatiability, and then you're going to want to eat everything in sight, and you'll like eat like 1,000 calories in a few minutes, and you'll still want to eat more. So I'm kind of working on this balancing act of like, okay, I want to save my food for later in the day, but I've got to eat something first so that I'm not totally dying after my workout or before I go to bed. Because I could diet 95% of the time perfectly. You know, it could be 9 o'clock. I've only eaten, 1,800 calories. I got a couple hundred calories left for a post-workout meal. Sweet. This whole day is a success so far. And it would take me 5 minutes to completely overshoot my calorie goal by, I mean, I could slam 4,000 calories in 5 minutes if you gave me the right food. I mean, a tub of Ben and Jerry's is 1,200. I could. I don't even like thinking about it now, because now I'm thinking about it. But I'd say you could put me down for a strong 12 seconds on a tub of Ben and Jerry's, depending on the flavor. You know, if it's got chunks, maybe put me down for 15. But if you're giving me just straight vanilla, yeah, that thing's gone in 12 seconds. And that's 1,200 calories. That's double the amount of food, almost, that I've eaten all of today. So you really do got to be tricky about that stuff, or you got to be careful about that stuff, because calories can, well, you're a machine made to survive. You can get calories in pretty freaking quick, and you're I'm kind of fighting against my natural instincts right now, trying to get leaner, because my stomach and my brain is telling me, dude, you're hungry. You need to eat something. You gotta, any food you can get your hands on, eat it. Right? I'm talking seafood diet. You see it, nab it. So I'm trying to fight against that sort of natural urge, but it's not that strong. Come on, you can overpower that sort of thing. So keep a tough mind. If you're watching this at 11 and you're trying not to go to the pantry and just completely raid it, I'll tell you something, man. I've been there. Right? Grab yourself a Sprite Zero. Grab yourself a sugar-free Jell-O cup. Maybe, you know, mix it with 100 grams of frozen fruit. I've been doing that a ton. It has been working out very well, because I could have a full bowl of like just frozen fruit with Jell-O, sugar-free, of course. The thing's 15 grams of carbs, but like it's a pretty substantial bowl, you know. So I always try to aim for that calorie-smart option if you can. You know, if you're really into the thick of it of your dieting phase. But I think that pretty much covers me for back today. I'm getting pretty excited for arms tomorrow, and then I'm excited for the leg day after that, and the chest day after that, and the back day after that, and the arm day after that, and the leg day after that, and indefinitely. So I will see you for arms.